you're buying a Tyreek-esque impact. That was Hobbs in my ear.
So, listen, Bucky's right. In the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, all of which was not garbage time.
Right.
He had 14 catches for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. We showed it to you last week, that from week 10 on, he had a similar trajectory Rashee Rice had his rookie year, both around 75 yards per game, similar touchdown numbers. And then Rice, the beginning of year 2, was top 3 in the league in everything. Catches, yards, touchdowns, until week 4 when he got hurt. So I think that's super positive. I think, oddly, the Rashee Rice suspension could be helpful in the short term for Xavier's development because he'll be the number 1 option. I also think it's important to remember who Tyreek Hill was in year 2. Tyreek Hill in year 2, which was the last year before Mahomes, had 75 catches, 1,180 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think that is absolutely reasonable. You know what I mean? Now Tyreek Hill in year 3 might have been the best receiver in football, and at 1,500. So I do not think Xavier Worthy has Tyreek Hill career upside. Tyreek, some people think is one of the 6 greatest receivers ever. I'm not saying that. But do I think he could put up similar numbers to year 2 Tyreek Hill? Absolutely, I think he could. 1,100 yards, half a dozen or so touchdowns, 75 catches.
Yeah, it sounds crazy because we've seen Tyreek Hill. I agree, top 6 receiver all time, easy Hall of Famer. But I do feel like Xavier can have that type of impact. He's even, his 40 time is a little faster than Tyreek's, as fast as Tyreek is. And he's not as big, his body
He's a touch taller, though.
Right, he's a little taller,
not
but
as
he's
durable,
more
you
thin.
think? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he was durable last year, but
taking hits.
You would think that taking hits and the running after the catch, but Worthy was great after the catch last year. 6.9 yards after the catch he averaged, which was top 5 among receivers who started full time. And Tyreek has never had a season with 6.9 yards a catch. His career average is like 4.7. So I actually do think Worthy, because like you said, the playoffs, I get it. They ended up playing in the Super Bowl. Everybody doesn't have multiple playoff games, but he led the playoffs in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I get it. 2 of them were in the Super Bowl after it was over. But look at the yards per reception, too. 15 yards a catch. That's great. So I agree with you, Nick. I'm not predicting he has a career like Tyreek Hill, but I do think next year he could have that type of impact. And then when Rice gets back, you have defenses now that have to account for Rice, Kelsey, and then that will even open things up more for.
Yeah. Listen, Xavier Worthy is clearly great enough where you put him with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, he is going to do damage. I mean, that's just, that to me, that's just the safe bet. To try to put a name on it, a Tyreek Hill impact, what does that even mean then? When we make a statement like that, are we saying because of how defenses have to deal with the defend against the Kansas City Chiefs? Are you talking about he's gonna have such a massive play in such a key moment where he rips off a 50-yard run with yards after catch for a touchdown in a playoff game? What type of impact are we talking about then? But to me, it's he can easily be a 1,000-yard receiver, double-digit touchdowns. I 100% see that. I see Andy Reid only getting more creative with Worthy. If anything, Worthy will probably find himself in a more traditional receiving role. But when Rashee Rice is there, when Pacheco is there, I feel as though that, and Hollywood Brown, of course, as well, that's when you're probably going to get not exactly like Debo, because they're physically different style players, but just a lot more creativity in terms of how to get the ball in Xavier Worthy's hands. Because if anything, you're looking at it like him as a playmaker, and just we want to get this guy to have the ball and give him room to run, to kind of get to work, do some damage. So I think the way how he's utilized, well, there will always be a great deal of creativity, and Tyreek Hill was probably a little bit more straightforward in that regard. I guess like on a spectrum, not to say that there wasn't any creativity with Tyreek Hill, but I think especially considering how Tyreek Hill was obviously the clear number one receiver, and then of course Travis Kelce being, I guess, the number one target, right? But like it's still different than in terms of like how you're gonna look to execute your offense from at least like a coaching standpoint. And the other aspect is Patrick Mahomes' comfortability with him and the relationship that he has with him in terms of the trust that he has with him. And I'd say that that trust was obviously being developed last season, but like in key moments, important moments in the playoffs, like Patrick Mahomes absolutely did trust it. I think Patrick Mahomes is definitely the type of quarterback, which I can really appreciate, that he trusts his receivers no matter who they are in a lot of ways. I don't think he's one of those quarterbacks who's kind of like, you let me down, I'm just not looking for you for the rest of the game. That's not my read on Mahomes. And, because Worthy messed up a handful of times throughout last offseason, and there was never really like an abandonment of him. I mean, granted, there was a lot of injuries, so it was kind of like, well, you better find ways to get him involved. Otherwise, you're really not doing anything in the passing game. But I do feel as though Xavier Worthy, I can't say a Tyreek like impact, but I can say a really, really big impact. I mean, when you're looking at this at this core of receivers, having Xavier Worthy, having Rashee Rice, who obviously I know is suspended, but when he is there, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce. I mean, even Travis Kelce past his prime, like it's still, you have a lot of targets to work with. And especially you have a lot of speed there too. You have deep ball threats. You got big targets in the short game. You got quickness to do the screen passes, the behind the line of scrimmage passes. Like there's going to be no shortage of versatility of this offense. So to me, the way how this offense will be run more than it was maybe back in years past, like in terms of when it was the main guys of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, that it'll really be more of almost kind of like a Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson Warriors, where it's just like kind of like who's going to be hot today, right? Who's the one who's knocking down all the threes today? I'm not saying that they're built like that, like they're as great as that prime Golden State Warriors, but I just don't know if there's going to have to be this like ultra focus, and that's the benefit, because there's a lot, like Patrick Mahomes himself said, like we got a lot of weapons, and you do, and there's no need to have to run the offense through any singular weapon. It's also the huge benefit that you have as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, because they've already built their own championship pedigree, that anyone who comes into this team, to this franchise, to this offense, it's like, guys, this is Andy and Mahomes' offense. You're either part of it and you're going to win or not, right? Like you're either okay that some games you're going to get 2 receptions and other games you're going to get 10 receptions. Like you exist for us, not the other way around here. It's like we got the rings, we got the success, we got the Hall of Fame resume. So it really kind of also keeps them protected against any, even any, I don't want to say drama, that's too strong of a word, but any unhappiness that could even remotely arise with the team, where it feels like the offense will be very much spread out and distributed. But I easily see, if anything, it's like, I think an Xavier Worthy's floor would be like a Devontae Smith impact or a T. Higgins impact, or probably that. Those are probably the best examples right now. I mean, I could say a couple other wide receivers like with the Lions or with the Vikings, but I think it would be a bigger impact. Honestly, that's why my mind kind of goes more towards like the T. Higgins and Devontae Smith. Again, different types of players, of course, but still in terms of what they bring to their team and the absolute utmost importance to their team. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? about Xavier Worthy. Are you buying a big year from Xavier Worthy? I don't even know how that's even a question, honestly, but we'll run with it. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing this. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.